Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil has come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth he has but a short time. All praises to Yahweh, Hashem Hawashai, Baharak HaKodash, the honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the seeking to be the elect of the nation of Israel. They're scattered abroad amongst the heathen, some looking like the heathen. Beginning of 144,000. Preacher, teachers, and prophets, Shalom. And Esau is that devil, man. Beginning with the elites, the so-called white man. The word devil, diablos, or diablas, prone to slander, slanderous, accusing falsely, a accumulator, false accuser, slanderer. 2, metaphor applied to a man who, by opposing the cause of God Yahweh, may be said to act the part of the devil or to side with him. You see, Strong's definition: a traducer, especially Satan, false accuser, devil, slanderer. So Esau, the so-called white man, is that devil, man, the son of perdition, who opposes all that is called God, and sitteth in the seat of God, claiming himself that he is God, right? So they're waging war, excuse me, upon the inhabitants of the sea, meaning all living things upon the face of the earth, because they know that they have a short time.
The safety of our community.
It says this 9 hours ago, what a biological warfare attack could look like, and it's already happening. It's just getting worse. All right? So Esau knows that he has a short time by attacking all living things. You get the word biological warfare, biological adjective pertaining to the science of life. It says biological clock, innate mechanism that regulates cyclic activities of living things. You see? Of living things. Biological warfare. Now let's get warfare. So warfare is living things. Warfare. War. It says large-scale military conflict, war, difficulty, dispute, hostility, fight, combat, war. And you jump down to 1. Come on now. It's my second time trying to do this lesson. You see down here at 1, it won't highlight. But it says to confuse, mix up, suggesting the original sense was bring into confusion. Right? So they're confusing all living things through biological, that's war, through biological warfare. War. Yeah. They bring hostility, dispute, difficulty to all living things. Warfare. Journey, road, passage, expedition, from strong neuter afferent to journey. So it's a constant journey. Road, passage, expedition, a war upon all living things. And this is what Esau was doing, man. All right? This is what Esau was doing. And you think this is a coincidence? You really think this is a coincidence? 22 hours ago, President Donald Trump hints at declaring a national emergency ahead of the midterms. Stranger things have happened. And you see the attack on foods, crops, people, and what people done went along with in 2019, 2020. Hey, they filled up with everything they had to offer. They becoming sicker. A lot of people oofed. People becoming worse. They're mutating on the inside. There's new variants out. Things are mutating. They're coming up with all types of new things against all living things. All right, the people, the crops, the earth, the trees. You know, everything gets contaminated. Hey, the food got the mildew, the diseases, the blight. You know, blight going to scorch. But hey, due to drought and things of that nature, them spraying and not having the personnel to clean the produce and to run tests. It's all about design. How about Shemashah set this dove up to do this, man? You see? So hey, it may not be a midterm because of biological warfare. Okay? It may not be a midterm because of anything, all manner of chaos. But y'all know I've been saying it for a while now. It's been on my spirit. I don't think it's going to be a midterm. Everyone is against this devil, man. Because these Edomites, so-called white people, are destroying everything, and people see it. And over here in Babylon, everyone is against this guy right here and his administration, man. And it's so bad that their mighty men in the Navy, they jumping overboard on ships, self-deleting themselves, man, backspacing themselves. All right, because of inhumane conditions, man. While on them Navy ships, them naval ships, stressed out, poor food, hygiene. They've been up there for like 9 months. Little to no water running. It says President Donald Trump declined to rule out declaring national emergency to gain greater control of the 2026 midterm election during an August 11th interview, offering a cryptic response after conservative talk show host Wayne Allen Root suggested the move as a workaround for a stalled Senate voting bill. You know? So it's really getting bad. It's really getting bad. You know? It's really getting bad, man. And you got Revelation 6 and 4. And there went out a horse that was red, and power was given unto him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword, and that's his blessing, man. And that's his blessing. And Esau's sword also goes into biological warfare, chemical warfare, biological warfare, regular warfare. You see, they wage war with everybody and everything. And they're most definitely taking peace from the earth. Great goes into large scale. A sword, you know, that's Esau's blessing. When you go to Genesis 27, it says one, outline of biblical usage, one, a large sword used for killing animals and cutting up flesh. So Esau's blessing, the sword, he's killing all living things, biological warfare. Strong's definition, a knife, i.e. dirt, figuratively war, you see? Judicial punishment, sword. So you see what's going on. No one in the earth is satisfied, man. Everyone is moaning and groaning, crying and sighing for all the abomination that's been done in the midst of the world. All right? People can't work. Jobs gone. They lying all the damn time. Revelation 6 and 6, and this is the time we're in. And I looked, NLT, and I looked and saw a horse whose color was pale green. His rider was named Death, and his companion was the grave. These two were given authority over 1/4 of the earth to kill with the sword, and famine, disease, and wild animals. And again, this is the season that we're in, man. All right? This is the season that we're in. I'm going to just play the video. So anything can happen at any given time. We see, you know, the biological warfare attack on all living things. We're literally living through that now. All right? And it's getting worse. And soon, hey, people will just be oofing. Y'all know what that means. They just be dropping. People going to become sicker and sicker. You know, crops are going to become more and more contaminated to the point you can't eat.
Stop his feelings.
The animals sick. Hey, the whole earth is out of course because of these devils, man. Then, hey, it may or may not be a midterm because of these things. Attacks on Babylon, you know.
All right, so
and they're doing all this stuff for the small hats, man. Not for the citizens of the U.S., you know. But they're doing everything for the small hats, which the elites are small hats.
All right, right, tonight, for the heaviest of topics in the future of warfare, what if the end of civilization is not nuclear, but biological? What if it's not a missile we should be scared of, but...
Well, the end of American civilization, the Babylonian civilization, is going to be nuclear. But I get what he's saying, though. But, you know, you got, these devils like to use terms, you know, that people are not too familiar with. And most definitely those who don't understand prophecy, man.
A pathogen. That is the hypothetical that investigative journalist and friend of the show, Annie Jacobson, lays out in her new book, A Biological Warfare or War, a Scenario. And it moves really like a ticking clock. Here's how she lays it out. She says, U.S. intel is in a panic after satellites pick up this explosion at a bio-research facility out in Siberia, a site that has been linked to Russia's most secretive biological research. It's had problems actually in the past. And tonight, officials are desperately trying to answer one question in this book. Did a dangerous pathogen escape? It definitely got our attention. Joining us now is Annie Jacobson to talk about this. Annie, the scenario here, it is wild. The research here is so illuminating. And I gotta say, I'm reading this as we're covering like the latest outbreaks of salmonella and cyclospora, and I know that those are very different than the man-made disaster that you write about. But there are some overlaps when it comes to the confusion. How do we not have answers? Where are the gaps when it comes to surveillance? You're also seeing all this play out. You've researched all of this. How do you see today's detection of any sort of disease or virus that's spreading?
You know, we have a multi-billion-dollar system set up for precisely that, a syndromic surveillance system. CDC is supposed to be getting real-time reporting. As I show you in this book, it all fails miserably. We also saw that happen in COVID. And so we now know a biological catastrophe is not theoretical. It could happen. Even though this book is terrifying, and there's a spoiler alert at the beginning that it ends in dystopia, the point is to really have it be a cautionary tale.
It's a cautionary tale, and it's also happening while we're seeing what's happening on Capitol Hill with Dr. Fauci. We've got this grilling of Fauci. It's a Rorschach test, really, for so many people that are seeing this, that are remembering what happened with COVID and still wondering about what happened in Wuhan. And in this book, there's a distrust that is almost as powerful as the pathogen, right? That's still here. That's still among us, and I don't see an antidote to that.
I mean, you're absolutely right. I think it's a huge problem that the fear, the distrust of science, the distrust of our public health officials, the confusion over all of that has just ratcheted up this threat. You know, I was astonished after the Senate hearings with Dr. Fauci that even President Biden's COVID director, Dr. Jha, switched his position and said a lab leak out of Wuhan was plausible. And so, or actually he said it was probable. And so that's precisely why I choose a lab leak, because I want people to understand, as I learned, as I was talking with all these subject matter experts, that in biological war, it's not just a conventional attack. It is actually an accident or an incident that is just as dangerous to all of us. And an accident or an incident means a lab leak.
A lab leak. And, you know, gain of function. That is something that we are all familiar with. COVID-19, coronavirus, gain of function. They're seared into our brain. And yet gain of function is something that so many people pretend like they know what that means. And they have no idea. And I've covered it for a long time. I kind of knew what it meant until I read your book. And there's a very direct definition that you give. Health officials kind of tiptoe around what gain of function means because of the nature of gain of function. And I can see why it might be necessary, but give it to us straight. What does gain of function actually mean?
Gain of function, okay, so it's another way of saying genetic modification, but really easy to understand. And I'm with you that it's kind of like, what is that? It's such a mysterious term. Well, it's literally giving a pathogen, allowing it to gain more function. The function,
allowing a virus to become more powerful.
Well, a couple things, and it's also a virus or a bacteria. That's a pathogen. It can become more virulent. It's a way of saying it's more deadly. It can have greater transmissibility. So you and I speaking here, if something was airborne between us, that is a pandemic potential pathogen. as opposed to something that is transferred if you touch it or by contact. Airborne is the nightmare scenario. Finally, what gain of function does is it can take away, with a very simple tweak, it can take away an existing medical countermeasure, like an antibiotic, like a vaccine. That's where you're really talking nightmare scenario.
Well, and to one up the nightmare that you've just laid out, that you do in your book, also tweak the virus or tweak the pathogen so that people become euphoric when they go out and party and then spread it. And that is something that humans have actually thought of, and there is research into that, right?
You're exactly right. You know what I try to do in this book, because it reads like science fiction, but it is science fact. All of it is based in actual, real, historical situations that the Pentagon or public health officials have dealt with. And what you're talking about there, when I learned from a subject matter expert who was a former bacteriologist at USAMRIID, which is the Defense Department's only BSL-4 lab, he told me that Soviet biological weapons engineers were trying to genetically modify a pathogen, a plague pathogen, so that it had euphoria on the front end. You might say, euphoria, what would that do? Think about it. If you get really sick with something, you're going to go home, you're going to get in bed, you're going to get under the covers, you're not going to infect as many people. If you have euphoria, you're going to feel like you want to go out and socialize. You might even wind up at a disco, and that is precisely where the scenario begins.
Patient zero is absolutely terrifying. And again, things go south from there in your book. I got to say, we cover a lot of the future of everything, the future of warfare. And I talked to a lot of names that have told me off the record, I ask them, hey, aren't you worried about like killer robots? You guys are working on this killer robot stuff like AI. And they're like, no, like not even in the top 10. We're worried about biological warfare because of the asymmetry there and because it's so cheap to do, especially with the breakthroughs that we're seeing with AI. So they're not worried about rogue AI. They're worried about people with a little bit of understanding using AI to do something like that. Are they off base?
Not at all. You're talking about AI-enabled bio. That is incredibly dangerous. I just use Mother Nature's pathogen tweaked because I want you to see how dangerous it is without AI. But because of the AI scenarios, if you look at a Defense Department threat spectrum, I have a copy of one in the book, Unclassified. Nuclear weapons are the most destructive. No one would deny that. Biological weapons present the greatest overall threat for precisely what you're talking about. The barrier for entry is so incredibly low. You don't need nuclear command and control. You don't need fissile material. You don't need a submarine, a B-2 bomber.
Or a state behind you.
You need a computer and a nefarious mind.
There is something, I was doing some research. I was researching questions to ask you about how to prepare for something like this. What type of gas masks would you use? All those things. I was plugging it into AI. I use all of them, right? And all of a sudden something weird started to happen. They started to shut me down. And they're like, line of questioning, we can't respond. Something went wrong, we can't respond. And it does look like there is some sort of mechanism at play. And again, like this is just cursory here. But does it seem like the AI companies know the risks? Is enough being done to maybe curtail people's access to things that would allow something like this to be done relatively easily?
I mean, it's such an important question, and the answer, unfortunately, is yes and no. I had my own experience with that. I asked ChatGPT to help me identify where a strategic national stockpile is located right here in LA. Now, that's classified information. I knew it was. I wanted to see if I could make the AI tell me, and I used a lot of nomenclature, keywords, nothing classified, and I was able to make the AI tell me. Now, I mentioned that to some colleagues who knew Sam Altman. It resulted in a conversation between Sam Altman and I to get to the heart of your question. After I told Sam Altman what I was able to make that product to do, the ability to do it went away. The point is the AI CEOs don't know what they don't know until someone tells them. That's incredibly dangerous when you think, again, of bad actors out there.
Yeah, this is a book for everybody. And in particular, this is a book for anybody that has their hands on the world-changing technology of today, biological war. Again, if you are working in cutting-edge frontier AI, please read this. Annie Jacobson, really, really a pleasure to talk. Not a pleasure to talk to you. It's existential when we see you. But again,
it always is.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's so important. Thank you very
so
much.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on.
And there's also reports that AI is creating new viruses, man. You know, so hey, the plagues are upon the world, man. Stay prayed up in the hands of how about Shema. Shalom. These doves work.